G'day, punters. Welcome to a Geelong Cup preview show powered by puntingform.com.au. And we're going to use baggybet.com prices, my prices. Shane Ciurleo and Pistol Pete Anthonisz join me to go through a fat day's racing at Geelong. We're going to only talk about the Geelong Cup itself, which is race 8, a group 3. At the end of the show, some slides will come up with the boys' best bets, which are in different races, and some value plays, as well as their top 5 in the race. Boys, let's kick off with the speed map for the Geelong Cup. I thought it was reasonably busy. And there's a couple of hopeful map horses there for me, which actually translates to every one of you, both of you two as well. But I think Serpentine rolls across. Groove Fairy gets a good run from 3. Herman Hess can be wherever it wants from 2. I didn't know what San Herberto and Aurora Symphony want to do. I think Aurora will be close. San Herberto might roll all the way across and take up a spot. Shabao and particularly Rodrigo Diaz is a grey up. La Dragon T was no intent last start. This is a big step up for that horse, but it's drawn barrier 9. The rest sort of make up the back half of the field. I think Macram has to go back from 17. We're going to run through the prices and then each and every runner. Any thoughts on that map, you two?
Yeah, I think Rodrigo Diaz goes back. I've watched his last 3 starts and he drew wide in the E-bore and they basically took him back to last 3 wide with cover. So I think it's probably going to end up being much the same here. I can't see it coming across being ridden too aggressively early. I think San Herberto just follows Serpentine across and tries to sit outside the lead. I don't think they'll try and do anything too fancy otherwise. That's probably the main one there. I think, like you said, T Waters, Lindsay's, Macroom, Attorney, they all go back from their wide gates. So I think it probably ends up being they find their spot and just go along, probably even tempo, maybe a bit quicker early.
Yeah, and we're sort of the puntingform.com.au data leads you to think it's a slight advantage to be up and in.
Yep.
However, this is a 2,400 metre race, so I think pattern less relevant. Let's kick off with horse number 1, Serpentine, who we've got $31. There is some 41s out there. I just don't want to be top of the market this horse because of the map and the camp and the profile of the horse. Has anyone got an opinion on the horse here?
Best figures for me were in 2020 when it was overseas. I don't think we've necessarily seen that so far. I thought it might improve if it gets a genuine good track there on Wednesday, which I guess there's a chance of. There's no real showers forecast, but soft 7 at the moment, need a fair bit of wind around to dry the track out. But look, it's, like you said, it's not one I'd necessarily lay at a bigger price, but it certainly needs to improve a fair bit to produce its best.
Jane Bunn's predictions suggest that this might be the last good track we do see for about a week, and it could. So I think it'll get to a soft 6, maybe a little bit better. Shane, any thoughts, Serpentine?
Yeah, I was just trying to work out who he's going to be the pacemaker for in this race, Jack, and I couldn't find it. Yeah, I can see why you don't want to be top odds. It's, that was a very tight finish, the Bart Cummings, it led and there was 2 lengths between them, nearly top to bottom with the exception of San Herberto. So,
Vow Declare's come out of that race and gone reasonably well in the Caulfield Cup.
He's this horse is SP $21 versus Interpretation, who SP'd $4 that day, and there was a length between them. So
the next horse, number 2, Midnight Blue for Uncle Bob, Danny O and Jai. I wanted to take this horse on, but the sheets, the way we operate, the prices have found it a little bit. So I'm again sort of just with the herd here with this horse at $21. Pistol, thoughts?
Yeah, he's been on track all prep. I remember seeing him first up at Caulfield and he was fat and woolly, and then he improved a lot at Moonee Valley. He's obviously would have come on again. He wasn't suited last start. Flemington, he was 3 wide, no cover. He only really got to outside the lead at about the 1,000, and he did keep finding there in the Bart Cummings. And I think almost certainly they'll ride him worse in midfield here. So he should be in around the right spot to get a run at them. Does he have the complete top versus some of these at their complete top? I think that's probably a query. Obviously, he has won over the 2,400, but that was the Perth Cup, which isn't a real race. So look, again, I've got him marked $14, so it's possibly a small winning result for me at best.
Shane.
Yeah, I probably think he beats Serpentine home. That's for sure. Sort of like 6th or 7th, nice run.
Yeah, fair enough. Number 3, San Herberto, $71. There's 101 out there. I think he probably starts bigger. But again, I just don't want to take on horses this early on that are going to potentially sort of sit outside or lead at Geelong. Could come to race 8 and it's been the place to be. But I think his chances are grim. Having said that, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, his best figures overseas actually are pretty competitive if you compare them against the other internationals. But the problem is he's had 6 starts here in Australia, and what's his best performance, so to speak? He was beaten 1.9 lengths in the Australian Cup. That's probably it. And I know he wasn't suited last start, but he was still pretty plain, I thought, late. He was playing first up as well. He had coming off a 550-day break. I think you just really have to risk him, not laying him once again. I've got him marked 40s, but it's not a horse I'd be looking to win on, that's for sure.
Shane, anything?
Yeah, it's horrible SP profile in all these runs here. It gets a tricky gate with a map that's probably going to have to be aggressive for the potential pro golfer. Yeah, it's just a no. Like, it should be 100s.
It probably will be. Number 5, Macram for our man Willow and the Hayes boys. I am top odds anywhere at this horse, $7.50. It's $6, $6.50, and 7 a couple of joints. $6.60 the fare at the exchange at the moment. But yeah, I'm taking this horse on. I actually like how he's going. I think he's going super, but because he's going so good, they're not going to dig this horse up and sit 4 wide. He can't lead. He has to go back to last, and I think that's to his detriment. And I think in a race with some competitive, decent horses here with softer maps, I'm going to take him on. Pete.
I'm taking him on just purely because of the map. But look, he does have some versatility about him, but yeah, look, he's only been exposed in slow tempo races so far in Australia, which I think is actually pretty much his wheelhouse. He's got a good turn of foot on the slow tempo, but even if they go slow in this race, I think he's going to be giving a start to some much better credentialed horses. So I'm more than happy to take him on at that price.
Shane?
Yeah, just agreeing with everything else that was said there.
You're with me. You support it.
Yeah, I do. It pains me to say it's the second time I've said this today.
Yeah, that did hurt you on the radio.
But it's like it's like this will be double figures by the time you chase it out, Jack, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think we'll sort of go top odds to about $10 and then we'll think about it again. But I do think it'll drift. Number 6, the import Rodrigo Diaz. Ollie rides Australian bloodstock, $6 at the moment. We are equal top odds this horse. That's just more on just wanting to have an opinion here. Very interested to see what Pistol says. Happy to have half an opinion and be top odds, but equal top odds just off the map. Like, where does Ollie get to on this horse? If he rolls across and led, like, I don't think that suits Ollie. I doubt that'd suit the horse. So he has to sort of be back and wide. Grey up, but happy to risk him, Peter.
Yeah, look, proper grinder for me based on what I've seen so far. I watched his last 3 replays. Before that, he was in Dubai and he just didn't do anything there. His peak time form rating is about right for a Group 3, but it's on the low end of that. And certainly some of the other internationals have come here with better time form rankings. Last start, he wasn't suited in the E-ball. Basically went back to last 3 wide with cover, held up the entire of the straight. But if you go back to his previous 2 starts at Sandown, he basically over 3,200 metres was glued to the floor as the winner of the 1-2 starts back in the Escher Stakes just went past him and he basically grinded to the line versus the rest of the field. Much the same the previous start before. And look, that previous start, so we're talking the Coral Henry II, the Group 3.
Oh,
that was just off his peak rating there over in Europe. And look, he still wasn't able to pick up the first 2 in running. So the pacemaker won the race. So he does look to be a real grinder. I think you'd need proper, genuine tempo. I don't think they'll ride him aggressively from the gate, just looking at his general racing pattern previously. So for me, it's a no. Look, I've got him marked around $16. So, I'm not going to.
What's the market do then? You think drift?
I think he has to drift. And look, if it firms dramatically and he's backed into favourite, I think there would be. I might take a second look and see what's going to happen.
What did we miss? Sort of stuff. Yeah.
Look, I think you have to just genuinely risk him. I mean, his time form ranking of say 111, 112. Well, the Dragon Tay came here with 113, Interpretation 114. Even horses like Surefire was 110. Serpentine was 115 on his best, but he hasn't shown any of that so far. San Huberto was 114. Like these horses are just, they're all going to be much of a muchness, I think, when you throw them all together.
Shane?
Yeah, look, I threw him into my top 5, but just because I ran out of options, and I'll just respect the market here. The market will get him right, is my feeling. I know that sounds a bit like fence sitting sort of thing, but the market will.
Yeah, I think that you're entitled to fence sit with this horse. It's an important staying race in carnival time. Like it's a scary thing to sort of completely pen. Horse 7, Surefire. We are $5. I don't know how long I'll stay $5, to be honest. No, we're $5.50. $5.50. I don't know how long we'll stay that's for sure. Because I think we're all going to align here and like it. I'll quickly talk about why I like it. I like the jockey switch. I like the inside draw, which he didn't get at Flemington. And I love the SP profile. I think this horse is ready to improve dramatically. He was well backed at Flemington too. He was 20s into 850.
Yeah, and I think you have to give him more credit, given he spent the first half of the race going backwards, ended up being 3 wide with cover at the end there, and really just brushed home through the line, wasn't beaten too far, good splits on the way home. As you said, draws to improve. Like what worse, at worst, he's sitting midfield here.
This is the horse at the start of the show talking about the map that I've always said you've got to be careful mapping horses where you want them to go. But I've done that a little bit here. But it's J-Mac on, it's Waller, it needs to win.
Interpretation's going to roll forward or sit prominently. So J-Mac, as long as he jumps on the same level as Interpretation, he just slops right in behind it, surely. And I spoke to Scurry earlier in the day just to try and get a read on him. And Scurry was a big push for the firmer the better for this horse. So we saw 2 back at Randwick on the soft 7, 3 back on the heavy 10. He didn't necessarily finish off to the same as what he did on the soft 6 there first up, where he basically gapped that field late, running over the top of Titanium Power. So I think if the track improves towards that soft 5 good 4, I think he certainly comes into it. I expect he jumps favourite and well backed.
Shane?
I feel like this is the easiest bet to have in the race. A couple of 2 key words in particular, 4 key words: Waller, McDonald, blinkers again. Perfect Waller setup. For all the reasons what Pistol said about its last start performance, and then the start before that was more aggressive, hard in the market, ran a strong race in the Kingston town, and just gets a better map here, and it's a perfect setup. It's just an easy bet to have.
Yeah, it's just coming out of the right races. Like started 270 or 310 versus Knight's Order.
And the Miriam, who they both
ran what, 3rd and 4th or 4th and 5th in a Caulfield Cup, That's stuff, it's form we know, which, is in these staying races, the longer this carnival goes, the less relevant that is. But I think he's the one they back, and we'll be keeping him. We're offering a price right now, but he'll end up being one we're going to try and keep safe. Number 8, Emissary. We are currently $18, and biggest price this horse, $15, $16 everywhere else, small the exchange. I just don't think this horse is that good. I'm prepared to change my opinion if Pistol with his time form ratings tells me otherwise, but I just don't think he's that good, and I'm happy to take him on.
Well, yeah, again, his overall time form rating overseas was better than what you see there with Rodrigo Diaz. The problem is he's had 9 starts since in Australia. He's won 1. That was a listed race at Caulfield over 1,700. And, I think relatively plain the last couple, that's probably about it. It's, can't really find him. Yeah, not for me.
Shane?
Well, you can just tie a few form lines in here, as you said, through that Shiraz race. Jimmy De Bear ran 2nd or 3rd in that race. He's just a rung below a few of these in the race for sure.
He did start $9 versus Macram $21 at Caulfield in the Herbert Power. So he's got some claim there and just more reason to take on Macram here. The next horse, number 9, Lunacies. D Lane replaces Harry Coffey for Cressy Lees. We are top odds by a mile here, $14. The best price anywhere else is 11s. I'm just laying the map, and I think he was sort of overhyped a little bit, but like a SP was awful in the slowly run Smoke and Romans Turnbull Stakes, Peter.
I don't think he was suited though. He did try to ride him with intent, Harry. He just couldn't necessarily get into a good spot at the top of the straight. He was held up, and when he was clear, he was okay. I thought over the last 200 off that it was a very slow tempo race. I think
second fastest last 200 meters of that race.
Yeah, and look, I probably the main query for me is I'd prefer him on a little bit softer ground. So if it stays in that sort of 6 range, maybe 5, that's borderline. That's probably a chop bet for me, just purely on the map. You have to respect D Lane jumping on board, and this is the horse that sort of gives me a bit of a query for Rodrigo Diaz. If they settle in the same position in run, I'd much rather be on Lunacies than Rodrigo. I think it's got a much better turn of foot. So.
Lunacies.
Yeah, look, at best for me, it's like it'd be a saving bet, but I'd want, positive track pattern and or track conditions with it being in that softer range, because, D Lane is one of the better riders of stayers in Melbourne.
It's just one of the better riders as well. Yeah. Is this horse a non-winner, Shane?
No, I don't know. It's 1-5 from 21. That's probably a bit harsh. Gary Harley would probably have a good line on this. He would have had a yap to Cressy Lees before the race, and he said the horses go on good. I was on him last start. I agree with Pistol. I don't think the horse was suited. Obviously, the gate and the map is the query here, and what the weather does and how the track plays will be, will just sort of determine his fate a little bit too, I think. I made him a top 5 chance. Thought his run to start before that, when he was first up, was a really strong effort, and said that he's come back in great nick. I think he's a top 5 chance with suitable conditions, and obviously D Lane on's a tick.
The 10 Shabao, we are $34 around the mark with the market there. We're currently offering 121% market, which is very, very competitive versus everyone at the moment. E Brown off, B Preble on. I just don't think it's a good thing taking E Brown off. We learned that on Saturday with what was it called? Smoke and Romans. I don't think this horse can win. I hate the map. Thoughts, Peter?
Yeah, I just think there's better suited horses. I don't really like the very slow tempo races going forward into anything, especially up and, it's staying at the same distance. I just don't think it's had enough conditioning. These had 2 starts since a 414-day spell. So yeah.
Yeah, he did go and miss this horse from memory. Had a long layoff with a reasonably serious injury. So, well done to get him back, I suppose. But he does
full credit.
The best might be behind him. Happy to work around him.
The 11 Groove Fairy, L Meach, G Waterhouse A Bot. Deep into a preparation, been up for a while, be rock hard fit. We are keeping this horse safe. I think it's a very, very good winning chance off the map and the profile, and some of the form lines are tidy enough. Peter.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think this looks like one of the horses that could improve coming off wet tracks as well, finding a firmer track. Settles on speed. I think you can just put a line. If you put a line through the Metro, where it was $8.50, and they've already seen a couple of good horses come out of that race. This is the only horse coming from the Metropolitan racing in the Geelong Cup. You've had Stockman, Sacramento, Durston, Arapaho.
Oh, this is good. So you've slaughtered one.
That's a tongue twister. But I will call it Grove Ferry, not Groove Fairy.
Yeah, so will
I. Yeah, look, I'm more than happy to have something on this galloper. I've got it marked closer to 10. Just trusting that Sydney form. I think that's a bit better than some of the other races in terms.
It's a Caulfield Cup form, isn't it? Like Montefiore was the run of the race, and the winner come out at the same race, the same day. I think it's a tick.
Yes, don't disagree. Look, it did win the Colin Stevens at Group 3 level to start before that. He started 440 versus Herman Hesse started 350. Cardrate Nor was in that race, around second to him, who would be, well below these. So, look, I think it's a chance to lead or box seat. So he's going to put himself in the race, and like you say, come through the right race. So he's top 6 or 7 chance for sure.
Righto, horse 12, interpretation. B. Gladrap Mellum, Seymour Dave Eustace. 4th rider, 4th start Australia, this horse. The market loves him. Always starts like just about sub $5. He's hard to knock, but they haven't really given you a choice with the market. We are currently top odds this horse at 440. The rest are about $4, 420. He's going to get a very, very economical passage, I think, Peter.
Yes, draws perfectly. If you go off his best time form ratings, he's more than competitive here. But he's had 3 starts in Australia, and I know there was like a slight excuse there last start. He was held up until about the 300. He just seemed to grind away late. Does he perhaps just maybe not have as much versatility as a few of these other horses? So, look, you certainly can't back him at the price, I don't think. I've got him marked closer to 10 off what he's shown so far. I wouldn't be surprised if he improves out of sight, just given the yard. Yeah, look, not at the price, but clearly has the ability, if he can find some of that European form, he's the top chance, but just not at the price.
Shane?
Yeah, well, I agree with Peter here. I think he's going to have to, not saying he can't improve, but I think he's going to have to improve again. Would you suggest that his 2 runs since that barrier trial have shown improvement? What do you?
I'd suggest he's like going good, but he's not savaging the line. Like, he's a horse that if they gave you a price, you'd back him, but he's like priced like he's going really, really good. And he well might be. I hate the way they change riders on these stayers. I think Peter, and appreciate it, you didn't hang shit at me for 30 minutes on the deep dive this week. You actually talked about horse racing a little bit. And what you said about staying races and the rides and reviewing them, I agree with 100%. There's a lot more to it. And the more you get to know these horses, I think there's a big edge in that, like knowing how they're traveling, when you need to wake them up, blah, blah, blah. And now Mellon goes on, Craig off, John was on, Ethan Brown. Like, they're 4 very different riders, and it just grates me up.
Are we trusting? Are we seeing anything in the jockey switch there? Does Craig say Matt Graham's a better rider?
Yeah, I'd say Craig has right of way.
It just looks unders. It just looks unders to me. Anything under 550 looks unders, because it doesn't. There's plenty of chances in this race. Maybe I originally thought that his price and Surefire's price were the wrong way around.
Yeah, that's my.
I think we're all sort of singing the same song here.
No pun intended, but that was my interpretation as well, Curls. But he does look like a horse that, if he draws well in a Melbourne Cup, he's a genuine sort of like top 6 chance.
Yeah.
It's that sort of profile. Like, looking at these European distances, 2,600, 2,800, 2,900, 3,000, like this might be too short for him. Maybe that's why we're not seeing the best of him over 25, 2,400, because he needs another 500 meters.
Yep.
Yeah, could be right. The next horse, number 13, La Dragon T, J Car Sticks for Anthony and Sam Friedman. We are top odds again, this horse. We are $20. The rest of them sort of 16, 17, 18, and one joint 19. A couple more joints 19. I don't know where it gets to in run. I don't know. There's been a little bit of money for it already. I'm happy to take this horse on. There's no form from its first up run at Flemington. There is 0 form from its second up performance at Sandown. And I think the Sandown number is always a little bit juicier than it is. I'm happy to take this horse on, Peter.
Yeah, look, based on its peak figures overseas, I think it's fair to say it hasn't found anything close to that. It's had 4 starts. I know it's through wide no cover there at Sandown, but it went to win and then peaked. So that is a genuine excuse. But that was 1,700. First up was 14. So it goes 14, 17, 2,400. I think that's got to be a query in itself. Its best figure over in Europe was over 2,000 metres. This might be a bit too far. And like I said, just it hasn't really shown like it's going to be finding those top numbers so far. I know Jackson's been more than happy to pen a lot of the stable horses of late. And you'll have a look at the current season stats, 6 winners from 90 starts. Last 50 is 2 winners. So would need a significant improvement, have to take it on. I've got a mark 26.
Yeah, this is a horrible placement by a stable that's going horrific. I think you mentioned their last 50. I've got them 3 from their last 60, Peter, and those wins were at Maui, which is not even a proper racetrack. Mornington
until we send one there,
and Sale. Like if you're clinging on to wins at Mornington, Maui, and Sale on your CV, you're kidding yourself. This looks like the owners are Geelong based and want a runner. This is not a setup to run in a Geelong Cup. It's a horrific placement.
Yeah, I'm with you. Right, number 14, Meteor or D Thornton, Chris Calthorpe. Comes out of the Gunstock Coonji, where it started $16 and wasn't competitive. It wasn't competitive to start prior, over 1,400 metres behind Scalapini. So it's gone 14 off one trial, 1,400, 2,000, now 2,400. I don't think it can win.
Yeah, no, nothing further. Draws inside again. What is it going to improve? 15 lengths off being beaten 12.
Shane?
This is our Australasian Oaks winner from last season, whose best chance of earning any money will be getting it in file and putting it through the broodmare sale.
Number 15, Attorney, seen you at Froggy, Matthew Smith from Warwick Farm. This horse comes out of the Caulfield race, the Herbert Power, a 2,400 metre race. So he's had the 2 runs at 2,400 metres, a nice base for this. He started 100-1 though in that race at Caulfield and ran 7th or 15th. I don't think he can win, and we're top odds it and Meteor Award.
So I don't think he can win, but it wasn't suited there. Like it got back in a very slowly run race and wasn't suited versus the day. Ran home with good splits. And look, if you're looking for something wider to throw into first 4s or something like that, I could probably give it a bit of a push at millions.
Shane,
Stable seems to be in good form of recent time. But yeah, I'm probably with you, Jack. I didn't give this a second look.
Number 16. Yeah, I'm with you. Number 16, Aurora Symphony, Harry Coffey, who will hopefully ride a winner today at Casterton. How do you say Casterton?
Casterton. If the horse gets beat there, it's Casterton.
Yeah. Simon Wild trains this galloper. It's backing up from the Coonji as well, where it started $41 and ran 3rd behind Gunstock on a very heavy track there. It's 4th up into this. I thought this horse has some hope versus its price, but certainly not a horse I want to back or think can win. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
I mean, does it have upside after 27 starts? I think it genuinely has to find another sort of at least 5 lengths to be competitive versus some of these other top liners.
It started $10. One thing that stood out to me a little bit is it started $10 in the Adelaide Cup, which I think is about this level of race.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, righto. Shane?
Not today, brother.
Speaking of not today, number 17, T Waters, D Moore, Archie Alexander. Honestly, no. Peter?
I mean, if you run a line through its Victoria Derby, 3rd to Hitotsu, 2nd behind Allegron, that's sort of competitive with the right run in transit, but it hasn't really shown that since the last couple have been playing. There's no trial, I don't think, or no jump out coming into this off a 38-day break. That looks a little bit iffy, mapped poorly. Yeah, pass.
The last race it won, it beat Royal Crown and Farrago. Farrago's come out and won since. The rest of them haven't.
That Farrago, that big grey horse that won the Maui Cup or something the other day. I
think so, yeah.
Yeah, no. I didn't give it a second look either when I was looking for my top 5 here.
The 18, team captain, D Bates, Matthew Kamani, we are top odds by way of this. We're $26. The rest of them are about 21.20. I just think this horse is pushing shit up. Well, I think this horse is battling to be competitive here. This is a step up on what it's seen recently. It was in the Group 3 Lunar Flare race where it started $41. And I think this is about the same level of race. And it's, for some reason, halved in price.
Yeah. I don't think it's been up to it this prep so far. I know it wasn't beaten too far in the Bart Cummings, but that did sort of get a little bit of a sucky run there. I think it would need its absolute best, and that's maybe a top half of the field chance.
If you wanted to make a case for it, it started 460 and ran third behind Smoking Romans in the Pakenham Cup.
Yeah, look, it's certainly a better chance than the previous two horses that we spoke about. Top 10 chance.
Number 19, the last horse, Herman Hess. No rider as of yet. The colt trains, Seymour, Dave Eustace, Josh Cadillac Kavanagh pulling the reins, so he tells us all. No, he doesn't.
There goes his job.
Yeah, stay calm. That was a joke, guys. I like this horse here. I think it maps to get a great run. I hope they run it, and I hope they find a rider. I think he's going to get a really, really, really soft run. He's got that SP profile that Shane, I think, spoke about with Grove Ferry.
Grove Ferry.
And I think those two are going to run competitive races here. We are unders, or we're just on the market at the moment, but as the percentages come down for the rest of them, we'll be under. I'll be keeping this horse pretty safe, Peter.
Yeah, look, it obviously maps well, as you said. Like, the form looks pretty decent. Obviously needs to get a start, but I think it would be relatively competitive if the inside of the track is holding up. So, look, I've got it marked $18. It's not really a horse I'm backing, but it's not a horse I'm laying either.
Scratched from the Coonji last Wednesday at Caulfield because of the heavy track, Shane.
Yeah, there you go, Jack. That was well spotted by you. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know what else comes out of the race to allow it to get a run. Obviously, there's a big prize at the end of this race, not only the $300,000, but the ticket to the Belmont Cup, isn't it? So, I can't see any reason why something else would scratch unless something untoward happens. So, very stiff, the boys here.
All right, that's our look at the Geelong Cup. Our best bets, or our top five, we'll quickly just run through them, and then we'll roll the graphics along for our best and value. Peter's top five is Surefire, Grove Fairy, Midnight Blue, Interpretations, and Luncy's.
Correct.
Curly, the male model from Toowoomba, Surefire, Rodrigo Diaz, Macram, Luncy's, and Interpretation. And I'm with Surefire, Grove Fairy, Herman Hess, Interpretation, and Rodrigo Diaz. So very similar sort of numbers there, guys. Anything else to add before we wrap it up? And if you are heading out to the Geelong Cup, I think it's important, Peter, that you pass on some of the knowledge from which you've learnt from your previous adventures there.
Yeah.
You put on one of the great all-time staying performances. You think the Geelong Cup's got stayers in it. Peter didn't sleep, Shane, till I reckon the Friday. And in that time, he had one of the monstrous bets of all time. We were betting together that day on one of Uncle Bob's Cerise and Whites at Ascot, like when he couldn't even talk, but he had this monstrous bet on that into Liz Cresceau to win the Cox Plate. But you did one thing up big time, right? Listen to this, Shane. So he's backed this horse over there at, I reckon it was like 380 or something. And we've had it like a proper bet into Liz Cresceau top tote. It was like $4 into 210.
Just giving something back.
Oh, unfair. That's fair.
No, but no, Dicko, the advice would be, if you don't drink during the day at Geelong Cup because you're doing the mounting yard and finding Prince of Arran out of it and Mickey Walker on board. And
that's right. So you sort of traveled like you just went to sleep, fly back the fence on the day. That's right.
Yeah. If you don't drink during the day, you can stay all night. So never again.
If you're a young bloke heading out there, have a great day. It's an outstanding day.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of advice too.
Yeah, what's that?
Geelong race 6, number 4, Minx moment. Back it and
Bet
enjoy
you
your
reckon?
free day. Enjoy the free day. Enjoy the day for free.
Oh,
6-4
guys.
Minx moment. Back it. Enjoy the day for free.
Anything else?
White sunnies are available at all servos leading into Geelong, particularly the Upco service stations, which are big down Geelong way. White sunglasses are a must for all.
And if you are
attendees.
driving down from Melbourne and you're hungry, there's a Macca's as you hit Geelong. Get that, because after that, there's no more food options to get to the racetrack. So there's a nice little Mackie D's there just as you get into town. Boys, thank you. Guys, have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. And 10 of the best from Geelong. Big fields, fat odds. Bye for now.